Hi, everybody. This is Brian Perry, Perry Home Solutions, Keller Williams Innovations. I wanted to bring you a brief but vigorous market update video today. I have Julie, who is my director, and she will be possibly chiming in on occasion. Is that right, Julie?
If necessary.
Okay. So briefly, I wanted to start by giving an overview of the market. Right now, it is in October of 2025. Relatively early October by my estimation. So a couple of brief statistics. Single-family homes right now, closed sales are actually up 2% year over year, so that's great. Inventory is up 8.5% year over year, so that is reasonable. Yeah, also single-family. Everything I'm talking about right now is just single-family. And let's see if it talks about prices somewhere. Median sales price up 2%, according to the statistics. So that's also fantastic, because up is good, down is bad, right? That's why I say fantastic. Townhouses and condos, those have been a little bit more challenging these days. The number of closed sales, condominium, townhouse-wise, they lump those together for some reason in Palm Beach County specifically, is down 4.4%, the number of closed sales again. The active inventory is up 10%. And so inventory going up is not always terrible, but if sales are flat or down, inventory up is not great because that means that the supply-demand dynamic is working against prices if you want prices up. If you don't want prices up, then I guess that's kind of a good thing. So, and price-wise, statistically, median sales price, condominiums, according to this year over year in Palm Beach County, condominiums are down 9.5% price-wise. So that supply and demand ratio dynamic is definitely kicking in the condominium market. Julie, any commentary on that? I will repeat what you say. It'll be okay. We'll make it work.
That all makes sense, and why pricing strategy is so important in today's market.
Yeah, price is important right now. It's really important. Not like a couple of years ago where you just slap a price on, and if it didn't work, wait a month, and it worked out pretty good. Nowadays, real different story. Even single families, they're certainly doing better than condominiums, but it is not a market where you can really play games, especially as a seller, right? You have to be on point, price correctly, et cetera, right? Maybe we'll do another video specifically on that soon. Okay, so that is the first thing that I wanted to update everybody on, which is the market. Second thing is mortgage interest rates. Everybody's very, very interested in mortgage interest rates and the mayoral race in New York, but I guess that's a different topic. So the mortgage interest rates right now, even though the Federal Reserve has lowered interest rates, they also did so last year as well, but the unfortunate result of the lowering of the federal overnight funds rate was mortgage rates actually ultimately went higher. And unfortunately, this time they reduced the rates, and I don't think mortgage rates really spiked up. I have a chart over here of the last couple of years of Fed funds rate versus the mortgage rate. However, it is basically the same as what it was before. It might have ticked down a couple of notches, but it hasn't come down appreciably yet. So I guess we'll see if the Federal Reserve continues to lower rates, and we'll see if those lower rates result in lower actual mortgage rates, because we don't really care what the Fed funds rate is. We only actually care what the mortgage rates are. That's what really matters, right? So anyway, that's the update. Mortgage rates are still steady. They are higher than they were, a few years ago, where they were at the lowest point that they'd ever been in the history of mortgage rates, essentially. However, at about the mid 6% range, historically, these are not particularly high interest rates. If you go back 20 years, 30 years, it's very average. As a matter of fact, in that time frame, these are probably lower than the average mortgage rate. So keep that in mind. Yet, of course, they are certainly significantly higher than they were 2 or 3 years ago, and that's a factor in our marketplace. There's no doubt about that. Julie, any commentary on mortgages that you'd like me to relay to anybody that's watching?
How about how it relates to the treasury? Is that more important?
Yeah, you mean the bonds? Yeah, well, I guess they say that mortgage rates are really tied to the 10-year bond, which I always found interesting because there's, in fact, a 30-year bond, but apparently the 10-year is more relevant. I presume that's because most people keep their homes for around 10 years. And Unfortunately, I didn't bring the 10-year chart, Julie, so I'm not able to illustrate that. I do believe that the lowering of rates did affect the 10-year bond. The bond yields have been inverted, which means the lower end scale of the bonds, the bond curve, has been a higher return than the some of the higher duration bonds. So that's never ideal. I don't think that's what their intention is, and that still is inverted to a degree. But nevertheless, I'm sure the Fed funds rates had an impact on those bonds. Unfortunately, it has not had the desired impact on mortgage rates yet. So we'll see what happens there. Okay, and last thing is, this one is kind of fun because we're always looking for ways to maximize people's ability to sell homes. We represent sellers and we represent buyers, so this is something that we might bring up when we're representing a seller. And this is about pets. And the fact of the matter is every little bit that we do right now counts in advertising real estate, and people love pets. And so there's actually a big study that happened, and it talks about the relationship between the home and the amenities with regard to pets that exists in the home and near the home. So examples are dog parks that might be close by, pet-friendly cafes and restaurants and things of that area can be especially valuable, especially in South Florida, where we have a kind of an interesting, living dynamic here sometimes. So offering that convenience to buyers of homes is really important. We're very good at articulating that. And so if that is an opportunity to exploit in the advertising process, we certainly will take advantage of that. We really like to emphasize in general any pet-friendly elements that may appeal to buyers and so forth. So anyway, if you're thinking about selling your house, give me a call. We'll talk about it. And don't forget to make a note of all of the pet-friendly elements in your home and around your home that you want me to be aware of, so we can make sure to emphasize that advertising as we're selling your home. So that'd be great. Anyway, Julie, is there anything that I forgot or anything else you'd like to add to any of that? All right. Thank you. Excellent directing today. I appreciate you. Thank you, everybody. If you need us, give us a call, 561-880-5696. Brian and Julie Perry, Perry Home Solutions. Have a great day.